Sir, are you Kirk Edwin Jensen?
Yes, I have documents in here that I just filed with the clerk, and I need to submit them here.
Is that this thing called non-statutory abatement?
That's it.
All right, I got it. I provided a copy to Miss Davis. It's entitled Kirk Edwin Jensen, Reign Citizen, Reign of Heavens, a set apart place for that address. Non-statutory. File number 23660ST, charges operating with no license. Charge 23661, charge with operating with no license in your possession. I don't think you can be convicted of both of those, as I said at our arraignment. And then the third count is a civil infraction, no proof of insurance. Could probably be charged as no insurance, but it was charged as a civil infraction.
I have the proof of that here.
May I see it? All right, that's the person that owned the car.
Correct. Yep.
All right. Let Debbie see that. All right, we had kind of a chase our tails around at the time of the arraignment. You are, what do you wish to be, a Reign citizen?
That I have a social compact and a body politic, which gives the authority for the credentials that I had when I had given them to Mr. Brooks. And
the officer that wrote the ticket.
right. You had said that you were going to try to get those from him and see them for yourself.
Yeah, I don't know whether I got, Ms. Davis got that or not.
We did get additional information from the agency in Detroit regarding passports, and they confirmed that they are fraudulent. So if this doesn't get resolved today with the plea as charged to these misdemeanors, then we will be amending to have
The common vernacular term had become sovereign citizen.
And I do not claim that in any way, shape, or form.
All right.
I rebut that. I completely rebut that statement.
All right. Well, I tried to think of a term for it.
Well,
Just a minute.
Okay.
Let me get my thoughts together here. We had a guy, Mr. Aiken, a couple of weeks ago, and we went round and round with him, and he wanted a jury trial, and he didn't show up, and then he was found in contempt, and he went to jail. And I said, well, how about willfully misinformed defendant? That's too cumbersome, or willfully ignorant defendant. And then I was laying in bed between then and now, and I thought, follow me here, Mimsy were the Borough Groves. It's like, what the heck does that mean? It's from the poem Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. It was written in the 1800s. It's a nonsense poem that doesn't mean anything. And more importantly, there was a science fiction story written maybe during the war called Mimsy Were the Borough Groves. It's a very interesting story about some toys that were sent from the future back to here. It's pretty relevant right now with cell phones. And the third line is Mimsy Were the Borough Groves. And what is a Borough Grove? It doesn't make any sense. So my term for these people that come in with this kind of nonsensical jabberwocky is going to be Borough Groves. So this is Borough Grove. It doesn't mean anything about self-claimed contracts, and Exhibit B and C has no lawful effect. So the question I have here is, do you wish to have a trial on these matters, or do you wish to enter a plea to this?
So does the body politic and social compact, is that being disregarded?
Correct.
Okay, then I'll go with the trial.
All right, then I will. Do you want to have an attorney to assist you?
No.
All right, you sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. The prosecutor is going to charge you with some sort of felony charge. What charge did you have in mind, Ms. Davis?
I believe that Prosecutor Morgan looked it up and it was fraudulent documentation, basically manufacturing fraudulent passport and a fraudulent license.
We talked about Conch Republic passports. Whatever you had, and this false passport and some claim that somehow you had an international driver's license. You have to have a driver's license from somewhere to have an international driver's license. And this isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And I had that too. I have that too, yes.
All right. Well,
one last question. The documents that were taken by Mr. Brooks, I want to make sure that those
Have physical possession of them. As all evidence, it's held by the sheriff's department and the evidence lockers. So certainly we would introduce those as exhibits.
All right, so we're back in court, and right away you can tell this is going to be one of those cases. This guy walks in and hands over a document called a non-statutory abatement, and the judge's reaction says it all. Non-statutory abatement, huh? Yeah, because that's not a real thing. That's not law. That's not procedure. That's just something he made up and hoped would work. And honestly, you almost have to respect the creativity. After hearing the same recycled sovereign citizen arguments over and over again, at least this guy brought a new flavor of nonsense. But unfortunately for him, the court doesn't run on imagination. It runs on actual law. So the judge moves things along and starts going over the charges. Driving without a license, not having a license in possession, and no proof of insurance. Basic stuff. Simple case. Should be easy to resolve, right? Yeah, not with this guy. Because instead of addressing the charges, he starts talking about being a RAIN citizen with a social compact and body politic, which is just word salad. None of that answers the question. None of that helps him. And none of that is going to stop what's about to happen next. Because then the prosecution drops a bomb. Those credentials he gave to police? The passport? Yeah, they checked with authorities. They're fake. Completely fraudulent. And now what started as misdemeanors is one bad decision away from turning into felony charges. And that right there is the turning point. Because a normal person, they'd take the deal. They'd fix the mistake. Move on with their life. But sovereign citizens, they double down. Every single time. And then comes the best part of the whole hearing. The judge tries to figure out what to even call people like this. Not sovereign citizens, because they always deny that label. So he starts thinking out loud. Willfully misinformed. Willfully ignorant. And then he lands on something perfect. Borogovs, a reference to an old nonsense poem. A word that literally means nothing. And honestly, it fits perfectly. Because just like that word, everything this guy is saying means absolutely nothing in a courtroom.
all right. Well, you're always polite enough, but you're
I stand
this.
firm.
Well, this.
I
It's
stand
the problem
firm
with
on
this
that.
this is insidiously dangerous. People decide on their own that the rules don't apply to them, and even though they're polite and respectful, you're yanking my chain, and this is a waste of our court's time and Miss Davis's time.
I intend to prove that
All
these
right.
things are correct.
All right, maybe you do, but they aren't. This stuff is meaningless. And if everybody decided like you that they don't need a driver's license, they don't participate in our social contract, and they wish to use our public roadways and our streetlights and our court system, but hey, it doesn't apply to me, things would break down. The rule of law would cease to exist. So it's polite, but it's insidious and it's dangerous. What's next? I don't have the social contact, so I can punch somebody in the nose. I can kill somebody. I can sell drugs. The rules don't apply to me because I'm a RAIN citizen. Well, it don't work that way, at least not here in Michigan or in St. Joe County. Same rules apply to you that apply to everybody else. And you're going to get charged with a felony document fraud case. Do you want a bench trial or a jury trial?
Jury.
Yeah, the same thing. it's hypocritical. The rules don't apply to you, but you don't mind bringing in 30 of your citizens to come in and hear this. I'm gonna set for a jury trial. Mimsy, we're the Borough Groves. That's what this amounts to. 'Twas brilling on their slithy ties. It's a bunch of nonsense. And
So the judge makes it crystal clear. Your body politic and social compact, yeah, completely irrelevant. Doesn't apply. Means nothing in this courtroom. And instead of backing down, he doubles down, asks for a trial, and refuses a lawyer, which is honestly the worst combo you can choose in a situation like this. Because now the judge basically tells him straight up, you're about to face felony charges. All because of those fake documents. That passport. That international license. All of it fraudulent. And just like that, this went from a simple traffic case to something that could seriously follow him for years. And even now, he still thinks he's right. Still believes he can prove all of this. But this is where the judge really steps in and says what needs to be said. Not just to him, but to every single person who thinks like this. He calls it what it is. Not just wrong, but dangerous. Because if everyone decided the law doesn't apply to them, if everyone just made up their own rules, society falls apart. No licenses, no accountability, no consequences, and suddenly it's chaos. That's the point he's making. This isn't about being polite or respectful. You can be polite and still be completely wrong. And that's exactly what's happening here. And then the hammer drops. Same rules apply to you as everyone else. No exceptions, no special status, no reign citizen loophole. And now, he's getting hit with felony document fraud. All because he chose to believe internet nonsense over reality. So the judge asks one final question. Bench trial or jury trial? And of course, he picks jury, which means this whole situation, it's about to get even worse before it gets better, if it ever does. And that right there is the lesson. You don't get to opt out of the law. You don't get to rewrite reality. And you definitely don't get to fake your way through a courtroom. Because sooner or later, it catches up to you.
so, Mr. Borough, I will see you on August 16th at 8:30.
Your Honor, just to clarify a few things in anticipation of that. As far as service, Mr. Jensen, will you accept service at the email that you have on this non-statutory abatement?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so just wanted the clarification that I'm going to send a witness list to him, make sure that he has the supplemental report from.
Yeah, there is one thing that it does have some merit in here. He asked for discovery. So yes, your request for discovery is honored, and the prosecution will provide.
That's listed on this document that was filed
And what
today.
email will I use to respond?
Yours would, the email that it comes from, which is PRLS at
Okay.
stjosephcountymi.org. As far as witnesses, the people would intend to call Deputy Kevin Brooks, Detective Sergeant Brian Steers, Chris Catone from the TSA, and James Herdman, Special Agent, Diplomatic Security Service from the Detroit office.
Will all that be included with the email?
Yes, I will do a written witness list. So
What's that officer's name?
The last one, James Herdman, Herdman. And then potentially this Cheryl Pulaski.
The owner of the car?
Yes. I don't believe there might have been another backup officer. Let me double check. I don't know if we'll need him, but.
Even though you have these mistaken beliefs, what's your objection to having an attorney to help you with this?
I do not choose to have any bar or associates representing me.
All right. If it is not charged as a felony, in the meantime, you're to be here August 16th at 8:30.
Okay.
And do you have any witnesses that you wish to call?
Potentially the owner of the car. I'm not sure at this point, but that would be one.
And the owner of the car might have a Fifth Amendment right not to testify.
Mhm.
If they're allowing you to drive the car without an operator's license, that could be a misdemeanor in and of itself. So that's something to consider. But we'll address it further. We'll see what Mr. Marvin and Ms. Davis elect to do with this.
For further witnesses, would Zoom be available?
No, they'd be here live and in person.
Okay.
All right. Any questions? All right, you're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And right here, something rare actually happens. The judge kind of agrees with him. Just a little. Because yeah, it is hypocritical to say the rules don't apply to you, while trying to use the system when it benefits you. But don't get it twisted. That doesn't mean he's winning. Not even close. And then the judge absolutely roasts the whole argument. Basically compares it to pure nonsense. Like complete gibberish. Nothing real. Nothing legal. Nothing that holds up in court. And you can tell at this point, the judge is done entertaining it. Trial gets set. August 16th, 8:30 in the morning. And now it's official. This isn't going away. This is moving forward. But here's where it gets interesting. The judge actually grants one thing. Discovery. Which means the defendant will get all the evidence. The reports. The witness list. Everything. And honestly, that's probably the only smart move he made this entire time. But then, he immediately starts making things worse for himself again. Talking about calling witnesses, including the owner of the car. And the judge shuts that down quick. Because bringing that person in could actually get them in trouble too, for letting him drive without a license. So now, he's not just hurting himself. He's potentially dragging other people into it. And still, even after all of this, the judge gives him another chance. Asks him again, why not take a lawyer? Why not get help? And he refuses. Again, no attorney, no legal guidance. Just him versus felony charges. And that right there is where this whole thing goes from bad to worse. Because now you've got multiple witnesses, law enforcement, federal agents, even TSA involved, all lined up, ready to testify. And on the other side, one guy with internet theories. So August 16th, that's the date. That's when reality hits. And before wrapping things up, the judge leaves one final warning. Even your own witnesses might not be able to help you because they could plead the fifth to avoid incriminating themselves, which says everything you need to know about how deep this situation really is. And just like that, he's free to go, for now. But make no mistake, this story, it's far from over. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Either way, drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because you already know, this next court date, it's going to be a disaster.